Hi everybody, I'm Ron Canner, the CEO of Tikkun International and the Regional Director for God TV here in Israel. And I want to talk to you about sipuach. It's a word that you've probably never heard before, but it means annexation. And it's kind of surprising to me that this isn't really in the news all over the world, and well, at least in America. I think it's more so in Europe. But it's the idea that Israel would go into the Jordan Valley. Let me just paint a picture for you. Israel proper ends at the Jordan River. Now, the area that is on our side of the Jordan River is typically referred to as the West Bank. Here in Israel, we call it Judea and Samaria, or we call it disputed territories. Others call it occupied territories. Now, what's the difference? I'm going to tell you all that in just a minute. But as part of the Trump peace plan, Israel would be allowed to annex or take 30% of that area along the Jordan Valley and make it legally part of Israel. Now, there will be an outcry if we do that. Now, why am I talking about this today? Because on July 1st, there is it's kind of a fictitious deadline. It's not set in stone, but Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, is supposed to officially annex that area and make it part of Israel. And that would take many of our huge neighborhoods in that area. By the way, neighborhoods or cities, you may have referred to them as settlements. But a settlement sounds so creepy, right? A settlement? Well, a settlement is just either a neighborhood or like Ma'ale Adumim or Ariel. It's a full city. They have a mayor, and a settlement is a city. The only difference is that it's in this disputed territory. Now, the outcry is going to be this. Palestinians will say, you have taken our homeland, our ancestral homeland, and you've made it part of the Jewish state. And I understand why many believe that. It's simply not true. Now, why did I call that area disputed territory instead of occupied territory? See, occupied territory would be more like Russia taking Crimea. They took a part of Ukraine and they occupied it, right? That's occupying somebody else's territory. But you have to understand that this region called Palestine, and I'm going to tell you about that word in just a minute, has not belonged to anybody for a long, long time. There has never been a country in the history of the world called Palestine. There's never been an ethnic people group called Palestinians that once occupied this region of the world and had a country called Palestine. Now, where did they come from? I'll tell you in just a minute. First, let's talk about the word Palestine. How did this region get nicknamed Palestine? It wasn't because there were Arabs here who had their own state. It was actually because of Romans. That's right. In the year 132, there was a rabbi by the name of Rabbi Akiva, and he declared that one of Israel's great generals, a man by the name of Bar Kokhba, that he was the Messiah. Now, this was 100 years after the real Messiah had already come and given his life for the Jewish people. That is Yeshua. And so when he declared Bar Kokhba the Messiah, they fought against the Romans. Why? Because the Romans were coming into the destroyed Jerusalem. And when the Romans destroyed Jerusalem in the year 70 CE, they leveled it. It was completely destroyed. And Hadrian, he was the Roman emperor around that time, 130, he began to think, you know what? Maybe I'll go back into Jerusalem and I'll rebuild it for the Jewish people. I'll give them their capital back, right? Things have settled down a bit. But you see, his advisor said, no, if you do that, you're going to give them hope and then they're going to rebel against you. So instead of doing that, he turned it into a Roman city. So he went into Jerusalem, he renamed it, and then he renamed the whole region from Judea, a very Jewish sounding name, to Palestina, right? Or Palestine. So this region where I'm standing right now got the nickname Palestine from the Romans in 132. It did not come from any ethnic Palestinians.